Okay, Nintendo fans, we have a couple of quick stories to talk about today. One of them is like 2 days old, but I didn't have time to record it, and that is the leaked quote-unquote price of the Nintendo Switch. It started out with it started out with Canadian Toys R Us listing the price of the Switch at $329.99 Canadian, which translates to roughly $250 US. And then it was another source, which was UK retailer Game. They priced the Switch at £199. And then that roughly translates to $250 US. So there's like two questions that we have to ask ourselves. First off, is this a good price? I definitely say yes, it's a good price. If Nintendo has learned their lesson from the 3DS and the Wii U, it's that you can't price these things too high because it just costs you too much in sales. Both the 3DS and Wii U, they had really good initial runs, but then they didn't sell hardly at all afterward. There were many reasons why for the Wii U, but for the 3DS, it was just too damn expensive. And as soon as they lowered that price, the thing started flying off the shelves. I mean, the Nintendo ended up selling, I think it was like 64 million 3DSs, which is a really good sell-through for a console. It looks like Nintendo learned their lesson from those two missteps, and if these prices are to be believed, I think that we're going to be getting a cheap console from Nintendo. The second question that we have to ask ourselves is, do we want a quote-unquote cheap console from Nintendo? If the console is cheap, well, that tells me that the parts inside aren't very robust. However, I mean, that might fill some people with dread. But we also have to remember that whenever, at least for me, whenever I play a game on the Wii U, I think that the games look great on the Wii U. I think it's a fantastic console. It's definitely powerful enough to run what I need, especially Nintendo games, because their games are always so stylized that you can't tell that they're not running on hardware that's as powerful as the quote-unquote competition. So you really don't need a console to be super powerful. What is it? How powerful does it need to be? It needs to be at least as powerful as the Wii U. Now, there are many reports out there that are saying it is as powerful as the Xbox One. I don't know that I believe that. If it's as powerful as the Xbox One, we're probably going to be running into battery issues. So I don't think it's probably as powerful as the Xbox One, but then again, we're all out here grasping at straws in the blind, so who knows? I think $250 is definitely a fair price. This is a system that is made by Nintendo, but the chips are coming from NVIDIA. And NVIDIA sold the Shield initially at $200 US. I think that the second one was $299. I'm not sure exactly the price of that, but it was about this same price. And that was basically a screen with paddles on the side, which is exactly what the Switch is. So I think that this is a really plausible price, and I hope that it's accurate, because if it is, this thing is going to fly off the shelves. Although, if we look at the NES Classic, flying off the shelves might not necessarily be a good thing if Nintendo can't make enough of them, or as if some people are to be believed, if Nintendo refuses to make enough of them in order to drive sales. Let's move on to the other story, and then we'll be done for today, is that apparently Zelda Breath of the Wild may be delayed. Has that sunk in yet? It's already been delayed a couple times, and now there's rumors out there that it's going to be delayed again. Again, these are just rumors. So we don't know if this is true or not. Nintendo hasn't announced anything, but they're coming from sources that they're coming from Laura Dale, who seems to have really good sources out there. So I hope she's wrong. I hope that the sources are not accurate. But if they are, I'm sure that it's because Nintendo needs to delay the game in order to make it great. You know, everybody goes out and quotes Shigeru Miyamoto. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have it written down in front of me, but a delayed game is eventually good. A rushed game is forever bad. I would be very happy to get a delayed Zelda Breath of the Wild game, because I'm really excited for that franchise. I don't want one that's bad. I don't want a bad Zelda. If there's extra spit and polish that has to happen, then so be it. Here's the question that we wonder. Is there going to be a Zelda in March for the Wii U? Is it going to be on the Switch at the same time as the Wii U? Because here's a big problem for Nintendo. If they put the game out on the Wii U, the Nintendo fans are going to buy it and they're going to play it. Then when the Switch comes, or when the Switch version comes out, it's probably not going to have very good sales, because you're basically taking all of the people that would have bought Zelda and you're splitting them in half. And so because you're splitting them in half, it's going to look to investors and to others like your game didn't sell as well as it did, even though maybe the same number of copies sold. So what I think Nintendo is going to do, if they delay Breath of the Wild on the Switch, and the rumor is that it'll be a summer game, if they do that, they'll also delay Breath of the Wild for the Wii U as well. What are we going to start with when the Switch comes out? There's the $1 million question, because Nintendo has to have a game in order to get this console to fly off the shelves. People aren't going to buy this console unless it's got games. So what game are we going to have? Well, possibly two. I mean, not saying that there'll only be two, but there's two that are rumored. The first one that's rumored is Splatoon. Now, a lot of people have not played Splatoon, which is an absolute shame, because Splatoon is a fantastic game, and it's just been languishing on a console that hasn't moved. Splatoon, if you haven't played it, is a third-person shooter where you have to paint the floor of the arena whatever color your team is, like maybe green, while the pink team is trying to paint the floor pink, and you're basically fighting back and forth painting that, which sounds like an awful game, but it's really great and it's a lot of fun. And getting that game onto another system is really important, because Nintendo, they want to get their foot into the esports arena if their little reveal trailer has anything to say. And that's not going to happen if they don't have esports type titles. And Splatoon is by far, other than Smash Brothers, Splatoon is by far the most esportsy looking title that they have in their arsenal. So I think that probably Splatoon is going to launch with the Switch. Hopefully I haven't said Wii U too many times on this. Hopefully Splatoon is launching with the Switch. And then the other game that people think that maybe will launch with the Switch is the new Mario game that they showed for like 3 seconds in the trailer. Now, a lot of people were noticing that there was kind of a Latin American feel to that Mario game. And it got me thinking, what Mario games have we ever had in the past that had that vibe to it? And I don't really think that there has been very many that had that vibe to it. But I think the closest would be one where there's lots of sand, because it seemed like a very sandy area. And then I was thinking about it, and I was actually watching a documentary the other day that made me think about Super Mario Land, which was on the Game Boy, and Mario went to Sarasa Land to rescue Princess Daisy instead of Princess Peach. And we really haven't been back there. I mean, I think that there was a sequel to Super Mario Land, but it didn't do very well, or at least it wasn't really on my radar. And wouldn't it be neat, since this is a portable system, to go back to the first portable Mario and go back to Sarasa Land and rescue Princess Daisy this time instead of Princess Peach. Not that women need to be rescued. You know what would be really cool? Is if we had Super Princess Peach who had to rescue Mario. That would be a cool pack-in title. So what do you guys think? Do you think $249.99 is a good price for the Nintendo Switch? Do you think it's a mistake for Nintendo to launch the Switch without Zelda to back it up? And what games do you think are probably going to be at launch with the Switch? Do you think it's going to be Splatoon and Mario? Or do you think I'm way off base? Let me know.